Hi everyone, my name is Marissa McCune and this is my final exam presentation for this course. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through how ancient cultural ideas, especially around law, religion, and social order, continue to influence the modern world. And then I'll connect what I learned from the textbook with what I wrote about in my reflective essay. So here we do have an image on the slide. It's a world history timeline collage showing major civilizations like Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, and Rome, just to name a few. And I chose this because it shows how far back human history stretches, and it kind of sets the tone for my entire presentation, regarding long-term influence and continuity through time. So, my thesis argues that ancient ideas about law, religion, and social order still shape modern society today. So, these early systems they influence today's justice system, our cultural values, and even the way people understand major events. So, throughout this course, I realized that the foundations for many parts of modern life were built thousands of years ago. So here I do have two images. I have both Lady Justice and the clay tablet. So I wanted to do Lady Justice because this represents fairness, judgment, and the legal system. I included it because ancient legal concepts, especially from Greece and Rome, still influence how modern justice works today. Um, and then to the right, I wanted to add the clay tablet because this represents one of the earliest forms of written law, similar to Hammurabi's code. I use this to show the origins of legal structure and why ancient written systems still matter today. So, when I reviewed the textbook, I saw how Roman law created structured legal foundations that still appear in our court system. So, early religions shaped moral expectations and social identity, and the rise of Christianity transformed cultural values across Europe. So, in my reflective research, I realized that debates today about morality, power, and authority often mirror ancient conversations. So I didn't put an image on here, but I did want to create separation between what I learned from the textbook and also what I learned from reflective research. So modern scholarship shows that ancient law introduced ideas like fairness, civic duty, and accountability, which are all concepts we still heavily rely on today. Historians also explain that ancient religious conflicts created patterns we still recognize in modern cultural and political divisions. So, connecting this to my essay, studying ancient law and religion helped me to really understand how modern society uses structure and belief to stay stable. So here for my image, once again, I did choose to use Lady Justice, which further supports the idea of fairness and legal structure. It also reinforces how ancient legal systems set the standards for modern justice system and civic expectations. So, of the chapters that we got to choose from between 11, 12, and 13, I did choose chapter 11. So, chapter 11 focuses on the 14th century, which was a major time of crisis and transition. So, the Black Death reshaped European society by reducing the population and also changing labor system. So, political and religious upheavals like the Avignon Papacy and I think it was the Great Schism, both of those weakened old institutions. So both of these events created the foundation for cultural shifts that influenced later centuries. So here, of course, I wanted to use an image of Black Death. So this image shows a medieval scene of the Black Death and social chaos, which fits perfectly with the impact of the plague on society and the overall theme of instability during the 14th century. So, once again, I did want to connect chapter 11 to my essay. So, this chapter supports my thesis by showing how belief systems influence identity and decision making. So, the Black Death changed how people interpreted suffering and survival. So political conflicts between, church leaders, they reflect how belief in authority shapes social order. So then you have writers like Dante and Boccaccio. They use literature to help people understand morality and cultural identity. So these patterns still show up today in how society responds to crisis. So the image that I chose is depicts Dante's Divine Comedy, which is really important because Dante wrote during this period. His work really helped shape moral thought and cultural identity, which is exactly the connection with this slide and what it highlights. Um, so, historical events from the 14th century show how major crises reshape values and social structures. Medieval people relied on religion and authority to understand what was happening, which is very similar to how we turn to things like science, law, and belief systems today. So, this really it shows continuity. Humans consistently turn to larger institutions to make sense of the world. It's almost like a comfort thing. The more we're able to make sense of things, the more comfortable we feel. Kind of like how when people, when they're in love, they kind of will go to a psychic, and if the psychic says everything, they want to hear, it kind of makes them feel more comfortable. That's kind of like the humanistic way. So as far as the artwork, this medieval artwork reflects how people in that era used religion and cultural symbols to interpret crisis. So I use it to show continuity between medieval responses and modern responses to social change. So all in all, we have my reflection. So this course really changed my perspective. I really didn't expect to see so many connections between ancient systems and modern life. I've never been one who was interested in history. I've always had a slight interest in cultures, but I didn't expect this course to go as deep as it did. So learning about ancient cultures really helped me understand that modern issues are rooted in long historical patterns. So it also helped me see why society is structured the way it is and how deeply history influences our daily lives. I really enjoyed this course, and I hope you all enjoyed my presentation. Thanks.